Hello, podcast fam. I am thrilled to share some exciting news. My book, So Grow Lead, is officially live on Amazon. This book is more than just my story of starting a nonprofit and building a peanut butter factory in Malawi. So trust me, the ups and downs of that journey are worth the read. It's also packed with practical strategies to help nonprofit leaders like you tackle challenges with clarity, courage, and a whole lot of heart. If you've ever wondered how to turn your vision into reality, navigate the inevitable hurdles, and build something meaningful, whether in your organization or in your own life, this book is for you. I'd be so grateful for your support in spreading the word. Grab your copy of So Grow Lead in the show notes and on Amazon today. Let's keep sowing seeds of impact together. Are you a nonprofit professional who's feeling overwhelmed and burnt out? Well, welcome to the Lead with Heart podcast. I am your host, Haley Cooper. On this podcast, we will share stories of leadership, courage, and empathy that'll help you learn to take care of yourself, your staff, organization, and community. You will hear from nonprofit leaders who have been in your shoes and have learned best practices to raise more revenue and make a greater impact. Let's thrive together. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Lead with Heart podcast. I have Nichole Montoya on the podcast today. She is from Cheddar Up, and I'm so excited to have this conversation with her and really learn more about her experience and what she has been up to and what she does currently. Nichole has more than 20 years of experience helping to grow and build businesses. She's the co-founder and CEO of Cheddar Up, the leading software platform that helps groups and organizations easily collect payments and information so they can save time and support and grow their communities. We know how important that is as nonprofit leaders. Cheddar Up was founded in 2013 and serves over 100,000 groups and organizations across North America, helping them to collect millions of payments each year. Nicole was part of the 500 Startups Accelerator in San Francisco and has presented at South by Southwest Interactive Women 2.0 and sat on numerous FinTech and female entrepreneur panels. Prior to founding Cheddar Up, Nicole worked in management consulting with a focus on change and project management and marketing for Accenture and KPMG. Nicole also co-founded and operated a high-end children's apparel company where she oversaw design and manufacturing and built distribution to 80 stores around the country. Nicole is passionate about women entrepreneurship and active in the Denver startup community. She served on the advisory board for the Denver Startup Week and is a founding mentor in the Commons of Champa mentorship program in Denver, Colorado. Cheddar Up is a part of the Denver Scale-Up Network, a post-accelerator program designed by the Denver Office of Economic Development and Opportunity in partnership with the Blackstone Entrepreneurs Network, and was named Colorado Company to Watch in 2020. Nicole grew up in the Midwest and received her business degree from Drake University. She currently resides in Denver, Colorado with her husband and 2 teenage daughters. Well, welcome, Nicole. Thank you so much for taking this time. It's such an honor.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really great to be here. And thank you for that nice intro.
I know. Sometimes it's always fun to hear back your bio and realize you're like, oh, I've actually done a lot. It's like that confidence ego boost sometimes. So I would just love to know more, like, you started a lot of businesses. You've been in the startup world. You understand it. Like, is there a particular story of you growing up that you remember of having this entrepreneurial mindset?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I feel like there is, but nothing is coming to mind. But it might come to mind as I talk further. I think I've just always really enjoyed solving problems. And I grew up on a farm, as you mentioned, in the Midwest and in a little town. And for as long as I can remember, I was excited to move away from the farm in the little town and just have a big job. And so I think my vision of a big job was different than maybe the big job that I have now. Do you remember, have you ever seen the movie Baby Boom?
It sounds familiar.
You might, yeah, it might be dating myself, but it's with Diane Keaton and it's like a classic kind of rags to riches-ish story. And I don't know. I was just talking to my CFO about this the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, you have to watch this movie. It was one of my favorite movies. I was like, I wanted to be the woman in that movie who actually ended up, she left corporate world. Actually, she had a big corporate office, and then she left corporate world, and then she started her own baby applesauce company. There is some alignment here because I tend to start businesses based on experiences and problems that I see in my own life. That with the baby company, I did that obviously when my two daughters were real little, and I was like, oh, the world needs this. And then as they went into elementary school, I was like, oh, the world needs this. And so anyway, I guess the point of that story is just that I wanted to create something, and I have always had that itch, and I get a lot of joy out of creating things and solving problems, as most entrepreneurs do. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. I love that idea of you're one of those people who sees a problem and then comes up with a solution. I relate to that, although I haven't really created much, but especially when I'm like presenting a problem, I always like to come up with a solution as well. So that just isn't complaining about it, right? You're like, I don't have this.
Totally. Yeah.
Now have the solution for it. So I love that. So you currently are the CEO and co-founder of Cheddar Up, and I would love to know more about this organization and what gap you saw that you decided to create this.
Yeah, absolutely. So Cheddar Up is a really easy to use platform that helps group organizers easily collect payments and information. So just a little context on who we serve, what we do. We work with all types and shapes and sizes of organizations. So it could be a mother or a father organizing a teacher gift for a classroom. It could be that simple, or it could be a fundraiser or an event or selling spiritware for a school, a PTA, a Girl Scout troop. We could help an HOA collect dues. The use cases are wide and vast, but at the core, we're helping organizations collect payments and information. So when my kids were in elementary school, I just found myself, and my kids are actually, one just graduated from high school and one is going to be a junior. So some time has passed. I was writing a lot of checks and filling out a lot of forms, and I just thought it was silly. I was also working as a consultant for a FinTech company. And I was just like, why am I driving this check across town or looking for my checkbook, frankly? And I just thought it was super silly. So it was that realization combined with also recognizing that I was never raising my hand to help collect money when it came from a group for all the kind of obvious reasons, right? It's a pain in the booty. People say they're in, but then they're not in. It's like tedious. It's hard to track and involves a spreadsheet. So it's those two realms where I was like, gosh, I wish that there was just like an organizational tool that was really payment forward. Back then I was like, I want an Evite that's payment forward ish. And so that's what I set out to create. And I'm not an engineer. I'm not technical. I know a lot about it now, but I think that is a common trait for someone starting a business too, right? Like you don't really know how naive you're being by saying, I'm going to go build a fintech company. But we certainly figured it out along the way. And we have a lot of great team members who helped us get there. But yeah, that was the problem that I saw. At one point in time, I tell this story a lot. I think it was pajama day for one of my daughter's kindergarten classes. And I was like, I needed $4 for her to be able to wear pajamas because it was like a funny fundraiser. And for the school, actually very effective fundraiser. And I ended up taking it from her piggy bank because I just didn't have $4. I couldn't find my checkbook and I had to fill out a form. It was just any parent or probably anyone can relate to this challenge. And over the last 5-10 years, online payments have certainly evolved, but we remain really focused on that group component, right? Like there's the Venmos of the world, the Cash Apps of the world. And that's a question. I'm over speaking, Haley, so I apologize.
No, it's okay.
But that's a question we get a lot of times is just, oh, well, how are you different from a Venmo? And really that group focus is super important because we're a lot of software that sits on top of payments. So the easy tracking, the frictionless payments, people can pay on Cheddar Up without needing to download an app or not needing to create an account. And a lot of people who use Cheddar Up are volunteers. And so making kind of year over year handoff from one volunteer to another is something that we pride ourselves on. But I digress. I will stop. But hopefully that kind of helps you understand like why I thought the world needed a Cheddar Up.
Yes, I love that. And you mentioned you're not an engineer, you do have fintech experience, but you are a visionary leader. And I have a lot of CEOs and leaders on this podcast, and I just love to ask this question as a vision. And you obviously then built the support around you to be able to build this system. Like, how is a visionary leader? Because I know that sometimes it's hard to want to let go and let other people run with it and try to create something that you have in your mind. So, like, how have you internally dealt with that, but also built the team around you to make this a successful company?
Yeah, I think from day one till today, I've been very involved in product. It's something that I really enjoy. Like you get to be creative, you get to use the process part of your brain, and then you get to collaborate with people. So I love product. The bigger and bigger we get, the less and less time I spend there. But I have been and always will remain really involved in product. So that involves like me collaborating with designers and software engineers, but I have handed off the day to day and the ins and outs, obviously, to someone else. But I don't think I'm answering your question quite right. Am I answering your question, Haley?
Yeah, like how did you decide that you needed to add people to your team?
Got it.
And how did you strategically add the people that needed to be there?
Got
I
it.
guess that's a better way to ask the
Yeah.
question.
No, thanks. Thank you. Well, from day one, I knew that we had to build a software platform. And obviously, I wasn't going to go about doing that myself. And I would say our strategies for hiring and finding the right talent are certainly different now than they were back then. When we started Cheddar Up, I was like, okay, are there any software engineers like that live on my street? Are there any? It was really like a prowling act on connecting with people on LinkedIn and a lot of networking and a lot of going outside of my comfort zone. And we didn't find the right talent in the early years. We didn't find the right talent right away. It took a couple tries. And that obviously there's a lot of learning from that type of experience, fire quickly, all those things. And now and over the years, it's really just been, oh, we're feeling a little growing pains. Can we do this? Can we fix this in house? Can we solve this with the talent we have on the team? Or does this require an expert? With the technical stuff, it's usually really easy to come to that conclusion, like marketing and that kind of thing. I can imagine back to a time where I thought that we could do that with the resources we had in house. And then that took a little bit longer to have a realization of, oh, you know what? I bet someone else could probably do this better, powered by more data and more A/B testing and that kind of thing. So it's been, I don't know, it's been tiered, like a tiered approach. And a lot of it in the early years depended on finances too. Like we're less constricted by that now because we've grown so much and we're in such a different spot. And that's a lovely place to be able to be like, oh, we need an expert. Hey, look, we can hire that expert because we've been fiscally responsible and all the things. So it's Cheddar Up in general in terms of running and operating it. I'm just having a ball right now because I have a lot of help and that is good.
Yeah, you mentioned something earlier about, and I love that you have that space to hire people and have that abundance mindset that you can hire people. But you mentioned something earlier about how you've really kept to the group mindset and like your original concept. I'm sure some of it has evolved, but I know that there can, especially as you grow as an organization, be mission drift. And there's so much opportunity out there that you could step into, that you could reach another market, that you could do this and add to this. But how, as a leader, have you really kept to that concept of group payment? And how have you facilitated that throughout your organization? Imagine a fundraising partner that not only helps you raise more money, but also supports you in retaining your donors. A partner that helps you raise funds both online and on location so you can grow your impact faster. That's DonorBox, a comprehensive suite of tools, services, and resources that give fundraisers just like you a custom solution to tackle your unique challenges, helping you achieve the growth and sustainability your organization needs. Helping you help others. Visit donorbox.org to learn more.
Yeah, we're pretty clear on our mission. This resonates for me because in the early years when we were just trying to make enough revenue to get to the next phase, there was all those thoughts, right? Well, maybe we could serve this person or this group, or maybe we can become an event platform and we actually did reach a little bit outside of our comfort zone and it helped us. We ended up serving the direct selling community, helping them. Sounds really random, but we still serve them today because we do serve a lot of business owners in addition to nonprofits. And we strayed a little bit. We kind of duct taped some features on, and it was a gut gamble and it worked at the time. It produced a lot of revenue. But probably a year and a half after that, we were like, it became very clear to me because we were having so much success focused on nonprofits. And that's where we always wanted to be. Like, that's where our heart is. That's how we build features. I was thrilled because there were a few inflection points where I was like, oh, good. We get to focus on what we set out to focus on. And that was a number of years ago. And that's where we remain firmly planted. We just love serving these nonprofits and these groups and these volunteers. They're like heroes out in the community doing good work. And it's fun. It's fun to serve them. And they're all different and they're all doing different things. It's fun to see what they do. As we've grown up and gotten really clear about our mission and our values, that's something that we go over quite a bit within our own team just to keep people focused and centered. But it's not hard. It's not hard for us anymore because we just love serving this community. So we add a lot of features because there's like the mission creep. Is that what you called it? Did you call it mission creep?
Yeah, mission drift, mission creep,
Mission
same
drift,
thing. Yeah.
mission drift. Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me of a term in tech, which is feature creep, which is you add so many features just because a user wants it. And you're like, let's add it. Let's do it, which is something we're mindful of too, right? Our platform does a lot and our users ask for a lot of features. But that's just another thing that we're putting against under a lens of, is this a feature that relates to serving, helping group organizers easily collect payments and information? For example, we're going to launch ticketing later this year and like put it under that lens. And so many users have asked for it. A lot of our nonprofits use Cheddar Up for events already. And so this is just going to enable them to use it for larger events in a more meaningful, streamlined way. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. That was a super helpful response. And I would love to know, I had someone else on this podcast when he talked about like community surveys and feedback more through the data equity lens. But I would love to know like you said, you probably get a lot of feedback on your platform, whether that's positive or negative. And what lens do you use to really accept that feedback, number one, and then reflect on how you're going to either implement it or, I don't want to say dismiss it, acknowledge it and not implement it.
Yeah, no, I'd love to articulate some really super sophisticated way that we do this, but it's not wildly sophisticated right now. Our window into our users is our amazing support team for the most part. And they are just talking to users all day, every day, whether it's an email ticket or live chat, and they get a lot of intel. And so we use monday.com, which is a really cool project management board. We've got a Monday board where we track user feedback and feature requests and we just tally them up. And some of them are just stuff that we feel really passionate about anyway. And so it's extra validating when our users are asking for them. And so it's really the product team talking to the support team regularly and just layering that on our product roadmap. We do survey our users sometimes, and we're thinking about implementing some tools that allow them to more seamlessly request features. But right now it's just relying on our support team, which works really well.
Yeah, I love that. And you've created a lot of businesses, and obviously you're the CEO and co-founder of Cheddar Up. What are some like leadership traits that you have embodied over the years and really value in the work that you do?
Let's see here. I think one of them that is just being curious and listening. I'm somewhat of an introvert. I'm like a extroverted introvert. I think that's a thing.
An ambivert, I'm one of those too.
Is that what it's called? Is that what it's
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely that. And I've developed a leadership style around it. And I just like to hear people out. So just being curious. And if someone's upset about something or someone feels strongly about something, I just to ask a lot of questions and just make sure I'm really understanding and hearing them out before I react. That's the one that comes to mind and works well for me and my communication style.
Yeah, on this podcast and in the work that I do, I just posted on my LinkedIn again today about emotional connection and really providing that safety and trust because at the end of the day, everyone wants to be seen and heard. And when people don't feel that way, they react. It's literally a scientific response where your amygdala, your emotional center of the brain, takes over your prefrontal cortex and you can't think, can't collaborate. I've watched way too much reality TV recently because I've been on maternity leave and people are throwing drinks in each other's face and then they just say they want to be heard. At the end of the day, that's what people want. Not that people do that in the workplace, but adults throw tantrums too sometimes. And at the end of the day, they want to have that safe place where they can express their emotions. So in what ways do you do that? And like, how do you facilitate that? Is it like formal, informal? Do you have feedback within the employees in your organization? What does that look like for you?
Well, for me, it's usually just in our one-on-one calls. I obviously don't have a one-on-one call with everyone on our team, but I certainly do with my management team. And yeah, it's a practice just that I try to be mindful of. One of our company values is respect and authenticity. And that we don't have any formal raw sessions around our values, but they're posted and people are familiar with them. And it's really our values are there so that we're reminded of them in terms of how we interact with and operate within our company as it relates to our users and as it relates to one another. And so I try to model just the respect and authenticity is something we don't have a problem with. Everyone we hire is pretty much grounded with that from the start. But being authentic and not holding anything back. And if there's something that's bothering you or you think something needs to be prioritized, just encouraging people to speak up and have those conversations because I don't know, it just seems like there's a better outcome if that's the way we operate.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm sure you've seen more collaboration, communication, more effectiveness and productivity in the workplace because people are able to voice their opinions. And sometimes it's just getting it off your chest is the most helpful thing, and to have another person listening to you. So I love that's something that you have implemented in your own leadership style, and it's worked. So I would love to go back to nonprofits because obviously that's my focus. I'm a nonprofit consultant, fundraiser, CFRE, and I've used a lot of donor platforms and they've been in all different places. So tracking is really hard. And when you don't have it all in one place, that's when your donors fall to the wayside. Like I was at an organization yesterday and they hadn't reached out to their foundations in a while. And so it's really important to be able to collect that information so that you can retain those donors, so that you can raise more revenue. And so how is Cheddar Up different than other platforms and how does it help facilitate that fundraising aspect or the donor retention aspect of nonprofit work?
Yeah, that is a good question. So I think one unique thing about Cheddar Up is that we're not just a fundraising platform. We we're a platform that helps people easily collect payments and information. Great. What does that mean? It means all kinds of things. So one of the ways that we help nonprofits is through fundraising. And so, but it's not our only focus. So we have an address book, but we don't have a detailed CRM. We have the ability to, we just allow them to do it plus other things. So in some regards, maybe we're less feature rich than perhaps some other fundraising platforms that are solely meant for large fundraisers. My guess is, do you work with pretty big nonprofits, Haley, or is it all over the map?
More small to mid-size.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I think some of our better features related to fundraising are just setting goals, showing who's donated, customizing receipts, recurring payments, those types of, I don't know, somewhat basic features, but in a way that lets the organization or the nonprofit really customize the visual of the page that they're sharing with their community, whether it's a banner or different donor levels or showing how much folks have given. That's really a nonprofit who's looking for flexibility would use Cheddar Up. That's one of the things I think that is best about Cheddar Up is it's flexible and it's really easy to use. So if there's a nonprofit that is intimidated by moving things online or using a tech platform, Cheddar Up would be a great place for them to go because like my co-founder, for example, is a designer and she's brilliant. And so one of the great things about Cheddar Up, I say easy to use, but the user interface and the user experience is just really great. And it's very intuitive. You don't really need to watch a video or anything like that in order to get started. You could go online, create a Cheddar Up account and create a page in a matter of minutes and share it with your community and you're up and running and raising funds. And I think that does make Cheddar Up pretty unique that it's so turnkey and nimble and flexible.
Yeah, I love that because that was always one of my biggest complaints, especially when I was in house, like using a donor platform or a giving platform and not making it user friendly. Like you had to know code. And I'm like, I'm not an engineer. Like I did not study this. I don't know code. And then also not being able to customize it to your campaigns. And then it was like 3 pages long. So the donor didn't have a good experience either. So I think that's so important to that donor retention aspect and to make sure that from whatever campaign you're promoting, it's consistent across all platforms. So even
Mhm.
when they get to the donation page, they're reinforced again, because people need to see the message multiple times that they see it there and then it's just easy to click and donate.
Yeah, I think that is super critical for donors. If I have to jump through hoops or remember a login or anything like that. Like, I'm not going to do it. And probably most donors wouldn't either. So that friction-free payment, I think, is really important, whether you're making a donation or whether you're buying a t-shirt. And then that's the other nice thing too, is thinking of a nonprofit. Obviously, fundraising is a core part of what they're going to be spending their time on, but they're probably going to be holding events for part of their fundraising, or maybe they're selling a t-shirt for a fun run that's part of their fundraising, or maybe they need someone to sign a waiver for the run. The nice thing is that you can do that all within Cheddar Up, like all those different types of things. You're having a gala, you're having a whatever. That flexibility also is great to have it all in a one-stop shop that's really easy to use.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that you're a mom of two teenagers, and obviously, again, you've started a lot of businesses, and I'm a relatively new mom. I have three under four in the last 3 years.
Wow.
And yeah, and it presents its own challenges in terms of, I don't like to use work-life balance, but like, how have you instilled in your children like this entrepreneurial mindset, and how have you found that balance of starting companies while also being a mom on this mom? It's a mompreneur journey, is what I like to
Yeah.
call it with my friends.
It is a mompreneur journey for sure. It is a challenge. I think any working mom, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're doing anything else, it's always a challenge. There are a lot of demands to being a mother and certainly to running a company. So I would be lying if I said there weren't a lot of sacrifices I had to make along the way, just in terms of like where I spend my time. So I just have had to be very diligent about making decisions on where I spend my time. And for me, it's been work and it's been with my kids. That's almost all I have time for. And so some of the things, I have a lot of friends, but I don't get to spend a ton of time with my friends. But that's just because I often will make the choice to hang out with my daughters, and they're teenagers now, so they're super fun. Hang out with my daughters, or to go out and go to the gym with my friends or whatever. But it's like phases of life, right? Or seasons of life. So it changes all the time, and you have to adapt as a working mom. It's like when they were little, it was like, okay, how am I going to spend my time? Okay, I'm probably going to get a little bit of help with my kids. I had help with my kids because it's really hard to take care of young
Yeah.
children and work. It's basically impossible. And then as they get into middle school, it's just what is important to me. Is it okay to miss their sports games? No, for me, it wasn't okay. And so I had to design my work to be flexible. It helps when you're running the company, but still there's meetings and things that are happening. And that is one thing about Cheddar Up that is very intentional in terms of our culture, is we have a really deep culture and flexibility and family priority, because there are actually a lot of moms who work here. And so everybody gets it. And, oh, you got to bail out at 3? Great. Hope the soccer game's great. And it's a culture that everyone understands. It's why a lot of people are attracted to working here. But to me, it's just, what am I going to miss more? Or what am I going to regret doing? Is it this meeting or is it going to the volleyball game? Absolutely the volleyball game. And I feel even more strongly about it now that I had just had a senior graduate from high school, and it goes really fast. Everybody says it does, and turns out they're right. But yeah, just being like conscious about the choices I'm making and where I want to spend my time. And then I can sleep at night.
Yes, I'm having a lot of those conversations right now. I like to say yes to way too many things.
Okay. I'm pretty good at saying no. It's actually a superpower of mine.
Yeah. Well, I would love to know, as we wrap up, what's something that's lighting you up right now? Like, what's something you're looking forward to, whether it's Cheddar Up, or I know have one that just graduated high school. What's something you're looking forward to?
Oh gosh, couple things. I think I'm looking forward slash have anxiety slash am excited about the fall. The fall is like always Cheddar Up's busiest time and season. And we launched sign up forms, if you're familiar with those, just a couple months ago, and our users are loving them. So I'm really excited to see how that new feature is going to power our group organizers in the fall during our busiest season. And we're launching ticketing. And so I'm just really pumped about the fall at Cheddar Up. And then I'm also like scared out of my mind, excited and thrilled for my daughter who's going off to college in the fall. So it's our whole family dynamic is changing, and it seems truly insane, but I'm still excited about it because I generally really like change. I find it exciting. I am going to probably cry like a baby, and that's okay. It'll still be fun. I'm excited for her to experience something totally new. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for being on this podcast. Where can people find you or follow along with you or Cheddar Up?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best place is just to go to cheddarup.com. We have a really cool About Us page and press page, and that's where they can go if they're curious about what the platform looks like and how it works. They can easily create an account and start playing around. Yeah, just cheddarup.com.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience and more about Cheddar Up. It's really been a joy to learn more about you and your leadership experience and how you lead with heart because you create that culture of listening and flexibility and really try to understand where people are coming from. So thank you. It's been such a joy.
Yeah, thank you, Haley. It's been a joy to be on here. So I've really enjoyed our time together.
If you have valued these stories or learned something from what you've heard, please share this podcast episode or follow me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for your support, and together we can build a better community and world.